props to Jason Kelce for that. And also on an amazing career. And so before we get into the whole discussion about Jason Kelce retiring, I wanted to mention a comment, and we got our guy Kevin in the YouTube comments, busy at work. And so he could definitely voice his opinion on this as well. We want to hear from you, Kevin, as well as we hear from Kaz. But I also wanted to mention what my friend Matthew Pearson said, because my friend Matthew Pearson, he is a very diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. And I just asked him, what's your reaction to this happening? And what Matthew said, and I quote, worst week of all time, with 2 crying emojis, but I completely understand it. And so Philadelphia Eagles fans are completely going through it right now, understandably so, because a legend retired. But Toddy, I'm going to toss it to you first for the unbiased perspective on it. Just what do you think about the career and the legacy of Jason Kelce?
He was drafted by the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 6th round pick.
Yep.
So I think
just like your guy.
Just going around the league from everybody.
Brock was 7th round pick.
Oh, 7, my bad.
Just going around
Mr. Irrelevant.
Everybody else was kind of reacting to it. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, his resume kind of speaks for itself. Multiple time, all league, multiple time Pro Bowler. I mean, just, a class act pretty much. All of his teammates loved him. You could see how basically the whole organization felt about him. People around the league, how they felt about him. And just, he was just a stand-up guy. And pretty much just was one of the best at his job. So I think he'll probably be in Canton I think he's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, as soon as he's like ready, eligible, he'll probably be one of those guys like, hey, it's about that time. So don't really have too much to say because, I don't really watch linemen, specifically centers, but I'm not breaking down film on, centers and chop blocks and all that stuff. But I mean, his resume is definitely up there with, just anybody that's in the Hall of Fame. So I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But definitely, I thought he was going to retire last year, just kind of after how everything went. But then he was like, I'm going to run it back one more year or so. And then even after this year, there was a lot of speculation on whether he was going to come back or not. But I think he's like 39. Like, he's kind of up there in age, and
he's a little younger than that. He's
like 30.
I believe he's 36.
Okay, so he's kind of he's up there in age.
Still up there.
I didn't really see like a drop off on him, like his production or anything like that. He was still I think he was still a Pro Bowler this year. So I mean, he could. He definitely still could have played for another 2-3 years. But I feel like when you're a lineman and when your body's kind of deteriorating, you're the only person that could really say, hey, do I want to go on for the next like 3 years and be, not as high level as I once was, or do I kind of just, call it a quits right before he kind of sees it coming. So hats off to Jason Kelce, or I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. Or how he really, they said that they don't.
It's one of the two.
Yeah. So, but I definitely think that when his time comes to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, when he's eligible, he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Kaz, 13 season with the Eagles, Super Bowl champion, 7-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first team All-Pro. How do you, as an Eagles fan, sum up the career and legacy of a Jason Kelce?
Well, I think Toddy said it best. He's a Hall of Famer. Probably first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. Definitely one of, if not the greatest Philadelphia Eagle to ever suit up. I tweeted a string of tweets after I saw the news this morning, and I was like, man, like, where do we rank Jason Kelce amongst Philadelphia Eagles greats? Is it top 5? Is it top 3? Just to kind of get people's opinions. And somebody made a good point. He's like, man, I break it down like this. Dawkins is my guy on defense, and then Jason Kelce is my guy on offense. And I was like, when you look at it from the outside in, it's like, what does it mean to be a Philadelphia Eagle? What does it mean to be, a leader on a team like the Eagles? Like, who is that guy?
Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, and it ain't Donovan McNabb.
Michael Vick.
It ain't McNabb, bro. It is a guy like Jason Kelce. I mean, that city, and this is coming from somebody who's not in Philadelphia, but I've been there a couple times, and I'm talking that guy could probably walk through the hood and be fine. It sounds crazy, but you know what I mean? Like dead ass, like that city rocks with Jason Kelce, and it is not a joke.
100%.
That man is the mayor of Philadelphia. And you know, before him, it was guys like Brian Dawkins who really wore that grit. You know what I'm saying? Like bone on bone, skin on skin. Like Brian Dawkins is tough as nails, tough as they come. Kelce is right there with them. With him retiring, it's one of those things where I'm like, it sucks. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of guys retire even when they're at the peak of their game. Jason Kelce was still at the peak of his game. He finished on top. He was still probably the best center in football, and if he wasn't one, he's probably two. The Philadelphia Eagles as a team, they rallied behind him. I mean, losing Jason Kelce, I can go on and on about how scared I am moving forward when it comes to having a leader like that. Not only for the Philadelphia Eagles, but to have a leader like that in the NFL. That guy he's respected by the other 31 teams tremendously. He's a stand-up guy. He's a badass center. He's a phenomenal athlete. His story is amazing. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's X amount, Pro Bowler, first team All Pro. What more do you have to say? I mean, this is like he's a top tier. He's a Kobe Bryant caliber player retiring from the NFL. You know what I mean? He's one of the best to ever do it, to ever suit up and to play that position. And he'll be missed, but I respect his decision. I was hoping that he'd come back for another year, but I think, like Toddy said, he thought he was going to be done last year. I did as well. I think that last year was the last hoorah. And as much as we, as Eagles fans, was hoping that he was not going to retire this year because there's still some promise going in next year, I think we'll be fine. I think that respectfully enough, we got to respect his wishes and just let him go. So.
And I want to give a shout out to my guy Rakeem because he is also a really big Philadelphia Eagles fan. And he says in the YouTube comments, one of the greatest Eagles players to suit up was the heart and soul. It's a big loss. And I completely agree with that as a 49ers fans because I could see the impact that a Jason Kelce had on that team. And Salvador says, the only center that I've seen to pull on a run and pancake two defenders.
Bobby Boucher.
Right. And I was thinking about earlier when we talked about not the tush push, but the brotherly shove. And it was so automatic. It seemed like that. It reminds me, and I never played a down of football in my life. Like I played flag football when I was a kid, but my mom was so concerned about head injuries that she never let me put on the pads as much as I wanted to when I was a kid. But so because I've never played it down, like I can only really equate things to Madden and like when I play Madden. And I know this is probably a terrible comparison, but when I think about the brotherly shove, I think about the fullback dive in Madden, where whether if it's a 2-point conversion or you need a yard or two just to get a first down and it's fourth down or whatever, the fullback dive, like just straight up the middle, no nonsense or anything. Just straight up fullback dive, and especially when you have a fullback like Kyle Juszczyk playing on the 49ers, it's almost foolproof. And, that's what the brotherly shove seemed to be. But, Kaz, I wanted to ask you more so about the first half of Jason Kelce's career because he seemed to get a lot of scrutiny, and this is just me or just catching up on the past because I wasn't as locked in on Philadelphia Eagles news and content 5-10 years ago when he first started in the NFL. But it seems like from the outsider's perspective that Jason Kelce faced a lot of adversity and slander and criticism when he first came into the league and was playing for the Eagles. And so could you just take us back to that time, Kaz, and how was he able to transition into the legend that he is today?
He said it best in his press conference. This is a tough city to play for because the city fucking cares. You can't come to Philadelphia and half-ass shit because the fans let you know. They're gonna boo you. They're gonna let you know you're not doing your job and they're not satisfied. And I think that Jason Kelce did a good job early in his career when it came to him becoming who the center that he is or was today. He accepted that 100% with no excuses. So I think that with him not being, I mean, he was never a bad player, but he was heavily criticized for a lot of reasons. I mean, when he was drafted, he was undersized. In college, I believe he was drafted to be like, what was he like was he a tight end? I don't know. He was drafted. He wasn't a center. He wasn't a lineman at all. I want to say he was like a tight end.
He mentioned it in the press conference today, and like I am just drawing a complete blank because
Yeah,
he
me
talked
too.
about how when he was at Cincinnati, that it was his strength and conditioning coach that was the one who was like, "Hey, you would probably make a really good center." And he said that he
Yeah.
never thought about ever doing that, but he said that it obviously changed his life for the better. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna try to let me do some quick research.
Yeah, look that up real quick. But yeah, but all I know is like with him coming in and facing, you know, the adversities that he did, the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, even back at the time, I mean, like we weren't making Super Bowl runs. You know, we weren't a force to be reckoned with. I mean, yeah, we'd battle out and we got a couple division wins, but like we weren't. What'd you find?
Okay, so according to Sportskeeda, it says he started his college career as a running back, and after redshirting his rookie season, you saw the reaction when I read running back.
Yeah.
But after redshirting his rookie season at Cincinnati, he moved on to play at the position of a fullback.
That's
then as an offensive lineman and a guard. Yeah. And Kelce's sophomore season saw him starting on the team as a left guard for the team.
Yeah, so I was like either tight end or fullback. I couldn't remember, but yeah. But I mean, the guy has. I'll explain something because I know you said yourself that you've never played football because of, you know, your mom's decision to not have you go out there and make your brain scrambled eggs. But as someone who played in high school and I, you know, attempted to play in college, I will say this: that's hard to do, man. I mean, you play your pee-wee football, usually the same position, then you go into junior high, then you go into high school. Usually, you play probably the same position or close to that position. For Jason Kelce to in college at the Division I level, so it's like. You came in and, you know, saying you're a running back. Okay, I don't even know how you got recruited for that or what happened there, but apparently he's a running back.
Well, and he walked on.
Or right? Okay, so walked on. Okay, either way, you're a running back, and then you're a fullback, and now you're retiring as one of the greatest centers of all time. That's just resilience. That's just literally you accepting whatever is put in front of you and attacking it, you know, 110%. I think him coming in. Already going through that in Cincinnati and probably even before that, whatever he did in high school in you know previous years, he's tough as nails. So he just adjusted. He took on the adversity, and he made the best out of whatever was put in front of him, and that led to him becoming a very good center and having a very successful career. So, I mean, early years, the Eagles as a team, like I said, we weren't really a force. We had a couple good seasons, but we were going back and forth between, I believe. Washington got a division win within there somewhere. The Dallas Cowboys obviously did. We went back and forth with them. I think we got a couple of them, but like nothing too crazy. It's not like it was from 2011 to 2017 when we won the Super Bowl that the Eagles were just this problem and it's because of Jason Kelce. No, we were a pretty average team for the most part. Maybe a playoff contender a playoff hopeful, but that's about it. No significant Super Bowl runs, a couple years where we've looked solid, but had some short upcomings. But I will say when it comes to Jason Kelce, how he transitioned from where he was at, becoming an Eagle, you know, the 6th round pick, to where he is today. That right there is what we as Eagles fans like love, seeing that consistent growth. He has always had a no nonsense type attitude since the beginning, since I can remember. He's never made an excuse. If we sucked, he'll say we fucking sucked. What do you expect? We're out here. We're calling the wrong plays. You know, saying I'll miss some blocks. You know, and I'm a big accountability guy. I love being held accountable, and I love it when. I mean, you guys know I coach track and field at the high school level. I love when my kids hold themselves accountable. It's huge. Jason Kelce is the definition of accountability. So, yeah, I mean, kind of a slowish start for him, and hard work and perseverance put him where he is today. So.
And Toddy, as Rakeem says on YouTube, that's facts. They thought he was undersized to play center when he was first drafted. And so, Toddy, did you want to jump back in here?
I was trying to figure out. So he got drafted in 2011. So he didn't play for Andy Reid. Did he play with Chip?
No, he I think he played his first year for Andy Reid, right, Kaz?
Yeah. So he played with Reid. I believe it was 1 year, and then Kelly was 22 because we had the dream team was. Shit, I can't remember what year.
Oh my God, the dream team with Nnamdi Asomugha.
Was that 2011? I think it was 2011. Yeah, 2011.
2011 or 2012. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was 2012.
And that was That was not Chip Kelly. Yeah, that was not Chip Kelly. That was Andy
Kevin
Reid for
Cobb
sure. So
was the guy.
Oh my God, Kevin Cobb.
We had Vince Young,
Okay.
Vince Young, and
Sal says it was 2013.
2013.
Was that when it was? Okay, I was gonna say I knew it was around that time, but I don't think it was.
Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson,
Oh.
Shady McCoy. Yeah, they had a squad.
I thought it was 2011 for some reason, but maybe not.
Because I remember, I think 2011.
Oh, okay.
Was the year when
Sal says 2012. You're right.
Okay, so I didn't think it was 2013 or
because it was either 2011 or 2012 when Andy Reid was on the Chiefs and they had Alex Smith and the Colts came back. They had that crazy ass comeback. So I remember that was like around that time.
Yeah.
Well, and part of Kelce's press conference today is he really like went through his entire career, and Rakeem also says 2011. So somewhere between 2011 to 2013, because Sal says not, because 13 was with Foles. So yeah, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. But today in his press conference, Jason mentioned the fact that he got the call from Andy Reid on draft day as a 6th-round pick, but he also mentioned that he will never forget the day when they were in training camp and Andy Reid's son passed away. He was walking out of the dorm that they were staying in, and there was paramedics rushing in, and he tried to stop and say, "Hey, can I help? Like, what's going on?" And the coach just told him, "Hey, go to practice." And they found out later that day that Andy's son had passed away. And I was really entranced. And again, I only got to an opportunity to listen to the first half. When we're done with this podcast is probably when I'm going to listen to the second half of what he had to say. But I was just really entranced by everything that Jason had to say in his press conference and the legacy that he now leaves behind. Kaz, before we move on to Russell Wilson not cooking, did you have any final thoughts on the career of Jason Kelce as an Eagle and just the legacy he leaves behind in that city, as you mentioned?
Yeah, I also want to mention one thing too about something he said in the press conference, which I felt like was a jab. I'm not sure if you saw the clip or not, or if you got this far, but I'm a big fan. He's probably my favorite current Eagle right now, if not number one, number two. I'm just a big fan of the guy. But Darius Slay all season long has been on his podcast, and he's been saying some things about, like, not necessarily like not taking responsibility for like the Eagles playing bad on defense like we did all season long and things like that. But he's been like, making some comments like, I had like 8 tackles this game. So I mean, I was good. He's been doing a lot of that stuff while we've been losing, and it hasn't been a good look. But at the same time, we got fans that are putting garbage cans in front of our the NovaCare Center where they go to practice, saying like players are bad. So it's like he's responding to the hate that we're getting from a lot of fans. And he also mentioned in a very recent podcast that it was him and another former Eagle. I believe it was, I can't remember who it was at this.
Kevin Byard.
No, it wasn't Kevin Byard. It was a guy. He has been an Eagle for a little while. But regardless, So he was talking to him about the fans booing and like how like it sucks and how it's never a fun time or whatever. And then in the press conference, like Jason Kelce, he said, "Yeah, Stevie Nelson, thank you, Salvador. That's who it was. Thank you." I was like, "Yeah, I drawn a blank." And they're like, "Yeah, dude, it's hard, man. It sucks. Like that fucks up your mental health. Like it's crazy." And then Jason Kelce in his farewell conference, he was like, when the fans boo you, like, blah, 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 like it's because they care. Like he pretty much kind of threw a jab at that, like, it's because we're not playing well. It's because we suck. That we have the right to be booed. Almost kind of, and people were retweeting and tagging Darius Slay, like, "Hey, Darius, like, take notes. Like, this is why we are." And I'm like, "Hey, you know what?
It's called constructive criticism."
Yeah. I'm like, you know what?
I had 8 tackles.
I can't even be mad at that. So I'm like, Darius, I love you, bro, and I think you're phenomenal. And like, I'm so glad you're an Eagle. You're for sure one of my favorite players to come through Philadelphia. You are, because I like his personality. I like him as a person. I think he's cool. I've met his wife at tailgates. I mean, just cool ass dude, cool ass little, little family, whatever. But like that was like a kind of like a last, hey, and I'm leaving. I'm letting you all know, fix this shit, because how you guys are is not the way that I would represent this team. And like I told you guys before, he is Mr. Accountable. He's not gonna make an excuse for shit. He can have a phenomenal game with 9 pancakes, and if we lose, he's gonna say he should have did better. He could have did better. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to say, that was major for me. That stood out like a sore thumb, because I think we needed to hear that, because we just lost arguably one of the greatest leaders to ever go through any NFL team, by far. And Philadelphia, I mean, you have a decision to make here. Those are some gigantic shoes to fill. Gigantic shoes to fill. Whether even if he was on the decline, which he wasn't, to have a leader like that to where the entire team respects him, doesn't question him, the coaches respect him. The city will die for this man. We have some big shoes to fill. It's just that simple. So from me and probably some of the other Eagles fans, I'm sure Kevin could probably agree. It's been a fun run. We will definitely miss him. And I just pray to God that that last little, jab that he put out there in that press conference is a kick in the ass for the team, because we can't go backwards. We cannot stray away from the Jason Kelce type mentality moving forward. It's not Philadelphia. It's not. So we have to find a way for a guy. God damn it, Toddy. We got to find a way for God damn it, bro. We got to find a way for somebody to step up and to be that new Jason Kelce. And I tweeted earlier, I think it's gonna be a guy like Jordan Mailata, who is obsessed with Jalen Hurts. He respects and absolutely loves Jason Kelce, and he wants to win as much as anybody on this team. So, just farewell to just Jason Kelce, and it's been fun, but all good things must come to an end. So.
And the Shrek meme is a prime example of why you need to tune in, whether if it be on YouTube, X, or Instagram Live. We're back again on Instagram Live this week after technical difficulties last week. But the Shrek meme is exactly why you need to tune in live. It's because those are the video exclusives that the audio-only listeners miss out on. And Kaz, before we move on from Philly completely, I did want to read one quote to you and get your thoughts on this. And this is a former Philadelphia professional athlete who spoke on the city. And this is JJ Redick, former Philadelphia 76ers player, because my friend Matthew, who is one of the most diehard Eagles fans and Philly fans that I know, he sent me this tweet a while back, and I just found it so I could read it to you. But JJ Redick said, "No offense to other cities, but Philadelphia is the best sports city in America. It's a special place to play. It's a special fan base, although it's very intense." How do you feel about that, Kaz? Because that kind of touches on what we were talking about with Big Play Slay.
Yeah. I mean, he hit the nail right on the head. Again, I'm not a Philly native. I live in the Midwest. So for those of you out there thinking I'm from Philadelphia, I am not. Just a diehard Eagles fan, and I go to a lot of games. But I've been to Philadelphia a handful of times, and I'll tell you this right now. I think it's absolutely true. I've been a part of a lot of teams in my life. I've been to other games that don't involve the Eagles at the professional level. There is nothing like that, just that city on game day. It's crazy. To win and to be a Philadelphia native or just a fan of Philadelphia teams it's a party, man. It's a party everywhere, but in Philadelphia, no, it's a party. It is a huge deal that the city of Philadelphia, they don't play around with their sports, man. And it's a good thing. It makes the experience, especially being a fan of Philadelphia sports, or just even if you're an Eagles fan, it just makes the experience just that much more just enjoyable. I've been to California. I've been to games in the Midwest. I've been to Texas. I went and watched my Eagles play everywhere. It's just not the same. Even when we win, it's just not the same. But in that city, it is like night and day difference. Honestly, I'm not even surprised, or I'm surprised that a lot of fans like that of opposing teams don't enjoy it. Because there's the whole propaganda that if you go to Philadelphia, that's not true. It's not true. There's bad fans everywhere. I'm telling you guys right now, there's bad fans everywhere. I haven't seen anybody getting drug on the streets through Philadelphia after we beat the Cowboys, or we beat, what I'm saying, like when we beat you guys last year or 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game. It wasn't bad. We were kicking it with 49er fans. In my tailgate videos on my YouTube, there's 49er fans everywhere hanging out. It is just a fun time. It really
We're
is.
also hanging out this year.
Yeah, that's cool. It's what I'm saying, it's just a little bit of what I'm saying. Look, check it out. Yep. Gotta do it to him. So
and for the audio only listeners, I was just showing a video of like a little 10-year-old Eagles fan walking up to a Bills fan, acting like he was going to give him a handshake. Instead of giving him a handshake, he gave him the bird because, they are the birds.
Yep. Exactly. So, I agree 100% with JJ Redick. It is probably, I would guess, without me being in every state, seeing every team and how they get down, the best sports city in the United States. I mean, it is different. I mean, the cityscape will be Midnight Green or Kelly Green on game day. The entire city is backing this team, not just football fans, the entire city, everybody. Okay. I'm talking where the sports complex are located. They're all right there. You got the Phillies, you got the Flyers. Okay. You got the 76ers and you got the Eagles, and they're all within walking distance. And that place is jumping and packed, and every last door is open in all these buildings for people to tailgate in and party in and do God knows what in, right? I haven't seen anything like it before. I haven't. So I would definitely agree with JJ Redick, man. That if you are willing to go to Philadelphia as an athlete or a fan, and you want to have like a good experience, just treat that team like they're your actual brothers. And I believe Jason Kelce said that too. It's like either Jason Kelce said it or somebody else said it, but it's like, I believe Kelce said it, yeah, in his farewell speech. I think he said, like, treat them not like fans, like they're your brothers. Okay, the fans are your brothers. Like they care just as much as you do. They don't care about your paycheck. They don't care about, and they want to see effort, and it goes that way for the entirety of Philadelphia sports. So I 110% agree with JJ Redick for sure. It's different, and this is coming from somebody who's not even from there. I've just experienced it a few times.
Toddy and I, we absolutely love Honest Eagles fans, just like Kaz and Matthew and Rakeem and also Salvador, who says, I mean, we did go back, Kaz, LOL. It sucks to say, but we had a huge decline at 10-1. We'll be fine, though. As Sal points out, it is going to be a new season. And just to close out the Philly segment here, Rakeem says, Philly fans can get rowdy, though. Only team who had a built-in jail under the stadium, and we threw snowballs at Santa. And then, obviously, our resident Cowboys fan, Uncle Manny, says, the built-in jail. Well, and those, in Kaz, those are the type of narratives and, like, something that might be, like, have a little bit of element of truth to it that people take and just run with it and just create a narrative when it comes to Philly fans. Because even from an outsider's perspective, I agree that I don't know if I agree with JJ to say that Philadelphia fans are the best fan base in sports, period. But to me, they are top 5, and I feel like we can all agree that they're top 5. And that's Toddy said it, not me. But anyways, as we